This is going to be a video that is a review of the Enus Huntley S. Wanted to do a vehicle that was relatively common in the world to start. No doubt I'll get better at reviewing vehicles and making videos about it, as well as I didn't want to start with the fastest car in the game or anything like that to kind of start at the top. Where do you go from there? So this review will consist of performance, handling, durability, functionality, and appeal. And appeal is kind of a personal choice thing. Everybody's going to prefer certain things, and so just kind of these are of course my thoughts on it. And wanted to talk first about the performance of this thing. It's by no means as fast as a high-end sports car or anything like that, but it is surprisingly easy to drive and still fast for an SUV. It's kind of a street car type SUV. It's like most of these crossovers nowadays that are so popular. It's low to the ground, pretty much sitting on a car type chassis, but it has a good amount of power. It sounds really good. That's one thing that I did notice right away. It sounds really, really nice. Like I said, it's a really common vehicle. You can find them really easy throughout the world, and so it's something that if you're in a pinch and you need a vehicle and you're running down the street, which it seems like in Los Santos that happens a lot, this is a car that's around quite a bit and can get you out of trouble in a tough situation. So you see there, I'm trying to give it a little and see what it'll do. It's definitely not going to blow you away with the acceleration, but being all-wheel drive, it doesn't play around. You don't get stuck spinning or sliding. You just get up and go. And on the open highway, it does have a decent amount of speed. It's pretty fast. It looks fantastic. I think it's because it's one of the newer vehicles in the Grand Theft Auto franchise, if you will, that they've modeled it more recently compared to something like, let's say, the Stallion comes to mind, things like that, where they kind of bumped it up from GTA 4, but it's been around a while. Doesn't look quite as fresh and quite as sharp. You'll see a lot in my videos the cinematic view. I really like the cinematic view. I think that it's something that is underappreciated by a lot of people. Something that's in this game. You can use it anytime you're flying or driving a boat or a car or whatever you might be doing. It shows off the game in a way that really you can't see without using it. The graphics are really good anyway, but when you get to see it in that kind of like TV camera shot, it looks absolutely fantastic. So you see, I'm just trying to get some driving time, and I'm actually heading to the open highway here so we can get some high-speed driving in. Really do like this car. I actually thought it would be a low end vehicle. I kind of didn't think it would perform as well as it did, but it is fast. It handles really, really well, and it's easy to drive. I mean, if you weren't necessarily the best driver in this particular game, jumping in one of these would definitely help you out. It's something that is really, I think, probably true of most vehicles. If you take them and test them and drive them and fix them up and do all the different things that you can do in the game, you probably end up liking most things, just because the world we're playing in is really fun. It's open. It gives a lot of options as far as what you want to do, and the vehicles are all have their pluses and minuses. But it might be to a detriment, but I actually chose something not thinking about it that was kind of a middle-of-the-road vehicle. It's a crossover, so it's going to drive like a car, but it sits like it looks more like an SUV, and it's going to be somewhere in the middle of the road as far as performance goes. I think this one's a little bit on the high end speed-wise, but probably on the low end as far as power. It's low to the ground, so off-road capability is something I didn't really test a whole lot. It was extremely durable, as you'll see here in a few minutes. The durability was something that I was really, really impressed by, and it got to a point where I was literally just trying to break it and couldn't. I think there's a different kind of driving to it when you're coming around. You see right here coming up on this curve, there's a different feel to it than you would get with like a car. If you come around a curve too fast in a car, you're going to get the back end, at least a sports type car, you're going to have the back end come out on you and kind of slide it around the curve. A big truck, the front end's just going to push, but in this thing you kind of get this almost strange side slide where it's not a drift necessarily, because it's just like the vehicle, all four tires lose traction at the same time. I think that's pretty true of most SUVs in this game, especially the ones like the Baller and different ones that are a little more off-road setup, they're higher off the ground. But this one definitely will do the same thing. If you put it under stress, rather than whip the tail out, it's going to just kind of lose traction all around. You're going to kind of end up in a dead slide. So now we're jumping into the durability test, which, of course, the best way to test a vehicle's durability is by running from the police. And I was able to ignite a few vehicles, make a big mess, and the police didn't like that very much. So now I'm running from them. And this is I kind of combined the off-road test and the durability test. And I have to say, this thing handles really, really good on dirt. This is, on a dirt road like this, if you're in the Sand King or in even in the Baller, different vehicles like that, you're going to have things sliding sideways. It's fun, and if you have some experience with it, it can be better that way. You can drive the truck kind of sideways around all the curves, but this thing really didn't do that. It just wanted to stay planted. It stayed right on the road. It's actually really, really, if you were doing a lot of online racing and doing online off-road racing, I would think that this would be something that could be very good for that, because it's hard to lose control. And that's not the case with most off-road vehicles. This is a point where I start to just kind of trying to do things to break the car. I want to see how durable it really is. I figure every vehicle that I do a review of, I'm going to want to see how durable it is. And of course, the worst thing that can happen to you, that seems to happen the most, is the front axles. If you smash one of your front axles and the wheel locks up, basically makes the car unusable. And as often as that seems to happen to most vehicles, this one was almost impossible to make it happen. I mean, I'm running around and running up mountainsides, and flipping it, over and over and over, and hitting traffic cars on purpose and doing all kinds of things. And its durability was really off the charts. It kind of made me think, man, I should have one of these for every character that I play with. But it's a pretty good car. This is all totally stock. I don't know if I said that at the beginning, but it's totally stock. Didn't do anything to this particular version. I think I actually took it to the shop and made sure it was stock, because now in the Xbox One version, the cars could actually be modified when you get them. A lot of cars are. You'll see cars with custom wheels, and maybe hear a car go by that sounds louder than normal, and it's usually because the computer players actually modify their cars some too, which is a cool thing. You might go somewhere and look over and see a really souped up Comet or something, and just, of course take it, but you're kind of, whoa, look at that car, instead of just seeing another stock Comet like you always would see in the older versions of the game. Right here you can see the front's finally starting to show some serious damage. A lot of contact, a lot of big crashes. Right up here there's a really big crash that was kind of disgusting, so I cut it off a little bit. You'll see the beginning of it here in just a second. But once again, there's that cinematic view. Looks really good. If you switch to the cinematic view, a lot of times in a chase it'll switch to the helicopter's view, or it'll switch to the dash cam of the police car, which is kind of a cool touch. You get a movie feel while you're playing the game. And you can sometimes, if it's a police officer that's right behind you, you can get a good view where you can actually keep driving while watching from his dash cam. It's pretty awesome. You can see here I'm just trying to break it, really trying to just do what I normally do on accident, which is bust one of those axles. I figure that's kind of the end all. If you bust an axle, you break the front piece, the car won't hardly drive anymore, so that means you failed the test at that point. And this car, it proved to be really difficult to do that. I would say that the Huntley is, the S is, there was a Huntley in the old GTAs. I can't remember exactly what it was called. I think it actually had a different name as far as the brand, though. I think it was Enus. The Enus Huntley. Here's that crash I was talking about. It's a really bad head-on crash, but I cut off the end because it was a little bit gross. But anyway, here we are, high speed again, trying to destroy this thing. But the Huntley in this particular game, getting back to what I was saying before, it's based off of what I could find online. Talked about it being based off of a Bentley / Rolls Royce, and it talked about that the Bentley and Rolls-Royce actually collaborated on several vehicles in the past, and that's why it's believed that this vehicle is kind of a combination of two vehicles that are out there right now, from those two, from Bentley and Rolls-Royce, which are two of the, the premier vehicle brands in the world. So that's pretty cool. It definitely looks that way. It looks super luxury. It has the LEDs, even if the lights aren't on. But then when you turn the headlights on, they're super white, and everything right stocked. So that's really cool. Once again, here I'm just literally just trying to destroy this thing. It's really, it's difficult to break it, which is cool. It's something that I think that was the biggest plus for this car, was just the ability to take a serious beating running from, I'm not even really running from the cops. I'm trying to get them to keep with me so that the chase will, get more and more intense, and yet it just continues to run away. You can see it's not lacking for any power, climbing over all this and rolling it over and over and over. I never even actually broke the door off of it, which I tried. I feel like a failure in some ways, but I was trying really hard to destroy this thing, and it just survived no matter what I put it through. So that's pretty cool. That's something that I think could be useful, especially in the multiplayer world, where there's a lot of times your vehicle is just a means to get away from a clan or away from someone who's, trying to take you out many times over and over again. And something like this, it appears like you'd be able to get away a lot. So, really had fun doing this review. I hope you guys like it. I hope that in the comments you can give me some ideas as far as what to do in future reviews. I have a couple of vehicles in mind that I plan on doing. This one is just the first one. Like I said, I kind of picked something that was not the fastest game in the game, or not the biggest, or not the strongest. And oh, that's right. Right here at the end, I actually I never got to total this truck because it got caught in a tree, which I had never seen before in any Grand Theft Auto game. And it was kind of fitting. It was so durable and would not die that it was kind of fitting that it ended up stuck in a tree. And I ended up just leaving it at that. I could have shot it and blown it up, but I just kind of felt good to leave it that way, and that was the end of its durability test. So now here we're looking at the after market stuff, and I went in and I did a full modification on it. It's got every performance modification. The paint is I think it's the graphite black with a red pearlescent on it, formula red. It looks really good, especially in the sunlight. I stuck with the SUV wheels and tires to kind of give it that off-road and off-road kind of it kind of kept the same handling. If you go to like the high-end wheels and tires, you're going to get a little bit more traction on-road, I think, but you're not going to have quite the off-road traction as you would. You can see it there with the tread on the tires, a little bit more than you would have on like the sport tires or something like that. But I have to say, this thing was really fun once I got it done. When I got it all customized. I didn't put the blue headlights on it because these ones were white, which, seeing as they only give us one custom headlight style, I didn't want to go to the blue if I already had crisp white. They're really nice looking, and they're really bright. But you'll see here in a second, this thing's performance is, it's a lot of fun. It's really fast now. It's going to have a little more of a rear-wheel drive feel to it. It kind of was a little tail-happy at times because of all the power, which was really cool. It kind of makes you wonder how much detail Rockstar put into the all-wheel drive systems. Because if you look at like a Baller or something like that, when you're climbing Mount Chiliad from the side or something like that, which I do because I use the cinematic view quite a bit, you see different tires breaking loose and gripping at different times, and then it kind of makes you wonder how much effort they really put into it, because it's a pretty good comparison to something like a rally game or a Forza game or something. Obviously Forza is going to have more realistic driving, but as far as the all-wheel drive system and everything, it's really impressive in this. And this particular vehicle takes full advantage of it. You can see just how good it looks. I like the way it turned out, the color scheme and everything. It's, of course, my personal taste, but I thought it looked really, really nice. Here in a minute, I think I do a start from a dead stop and kind of give it a I tried it from a dead stop with no launching, without holding. You hold down the e-brake and throttle up and then launch it, and went out without launching it. It was really fast. So then I tried it launching it, and I don't think it really got me up to speed any faster, but it definitely made a little more noise, and a little more dramatic. Um, it just was really fast. When you get it out on the highway, now granted a lot of it is the turbo, so when you get it out on like an open road, it's really fast, because the faster you go, the faster it wants to go. Being an SUV, it's still, and being all-wheel drive, it's still not blazing fast off the line, but it's impressive. It definitely was pretty fun. I ended up keeping it because it was so much fun to drive. So that there, I think, was the regular start, and then this was the launch start. Get the engine revs up nice and high, and then just dump it, let go of the e-brake, and let it really go. Excuse me. But yeah, it's definitely a fun car. It's one that I would recommend everybody go soup up and try. You know, if you buy the Los Santos Customs out in the desert with one of your characters, you can soup cars up for free. That's what I do, so I'm not spending, you know, tons of money souping cars up, because I do this a lot. I'm going to be doing it a lot more for some videos. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please, you know, like and let me know in the comments what you thought, what you would like to see, and thanks for joining Dark Shadow Studios.